A new Horizon game is on the horizon. And I didn't know how to start this video, so I wanted to start with that. So in this video, I want to talk about the new Horizon game that was unveiled yesterday by Guerrilla Games. I say yesterday, but I know by the time this video has gone out, we're well past the yesterday mark. So yeah, just wanted to put that here. And it's a interesting take on the Horizon formula. Granted, we've gotten Horizon Zero Dawn, the mainline franchise. We got Horizon Legos. We got Horizon VR. We got Horizon MMO mobile game. So now we got something new. It takes elements of a roguelike experience as well as, what would you call it? Not battle royale, but the same premise of open area, shrinking circle, collect your loot, upgrade your characters, and meet in the center for epic battles. So I just want to use, or in this video, I just want to talk about my thoughts on it. Am I excited for it? Am I looking forward to it? What I'm interested in, what I'm hesitant about, and just overall vibe. So without further delay, if you will, let's just hop right into it. And yeah, this is why I usually script my videos, because I don't know what the hell I'm saying. Anyway, so the new game is called Horizon Hunter's Gathering, and it's a 3-player cooperative multiplayer game that is borrowing elements from a variety of games. So games such as Elden Ring Night Rain, Overwatch, insert roguelike with diverging paths and upgrades, or even roguelike upgrade trees, sprinkle in a little bit of Monster Hunter, mostly because it's a multiplayer game and you're fighting monsters. That's why I say just sprinkle in some Monster Hunter, and I guess there is a gathering hub of sorts. So but there's a lot going on with this game, and the thing that I want to start off with talking about the game is what stood out the most initially was the art direction. It is a huge shift from the mainline games, which are more realistic focus, where this one is much more stylized, very vibrant, very colorful. Even the animations and how the characters act are very expressive, if you will, over the top, if you will. And I'm kind of on the fence about it. Not that I hate vibrant game worlds or anything like that, but here it does just come off as a little, I don't know, almost a little too bright for me, almost a little too vibrant. And this could just because I can draw the comparison to the mainline game, so I have something to initially compare it to. And maybe if this was just a brand new franchise altogether, I probably wouldn't feel as much as, or feel the way that I do now. But yeah, it's different. That's the best way to sum it up, so I don't ramble too long, is that it's different. And so it's gonna have to take some time getting used to for myself. But again, it's not ugly per se, it's different. And I understand why, in terms of you're trying to appeal to a certain fan base, but also someone on Twitter, I believe, Jazz Gordon, don't hate me if I pronounce it wrong, but essentially he did also say going with this art style can help when it comes to upgrading a live service game, because it's, you know, for lack of a better way of saying it, easier to upgrade a character, introduce a new character with this type of style versus a more realistic, hyper-realistic looking graphic direction. I'm not a developer myself, so I can't speak too much on that, but hey, if there is also a technical reason and not just a marketing appeal reason, then I understand. But again, for myself, I'm on the fence about it. So when it comes to gameplay, they showcase that they have different heroes to choose from, or hunters, I believe in this case, and each hunter will have their own unique weapons that'll have them play differently in terms of their melee, range, and just ways you play the character. Now, they did show that there would be a type of role selector to choose from, such as healer and damage dealer, that will have their own passive bonuses for your character. But he also went off and said that there would be classes to choose from, such as tank, support, and tactician. So I'm curious to see if I'm understanding correctly, because it seems like healer and damage dealer that they showed off may be like the initial choices to choose from, and then we'll get a tank, support, tactician, or you choose to roll healer, damage supporter, and then even then smaller into the skill tree you could choose tank, support, tactician. I don't know, but there will also be perks to build, craft, if you will, have different upgrades and different passive benefits for your character. There would be weapon upgrades that you can get. There would be items you can collect on the field to improve your character. So again, it's pulling from a variety of games, as I say, roguelike experiences, almost battle royale-ish type experiences as well, minus the PvP side of things. And you'll have gear upgrades to go with, crafting on the field, elemental weaknesses that you have to be concerned about as well. So it looks like it's shaping up to have variety in terms of how you approach it. And really it comes down to not just variety, but also just the amount of depth the game has. And it's cool in the sense that with the 6 hunters that they showed off. I believe it was 6 total. You can still have that choice between, I like this hunter, their weapon of choice, but I don't want to be a healer. I want to be a damage dealer instead. Whereas if people are familiar with like Overwatch, other hero experiences, you choose Reinhardt. You're pretty much a tank in the group, and yes, you could be a DPS Reinhardt if you know how to play, but essentially you're the tank role, if you will. But here you actually have choices to choose from in terms of how you want to play as each character. Now, they did say that on the initial launch, there will be a select roster to choose from, but they will add more characters as the game progresses. And they said that during their playtest, I'm not sure if it's going to be a public one or a closed one rather, there would be 3 to choose from of the ones to select it, or shown off rather. Rim, the archer son, who has the pink hair girl with the axe, or not axe, but a spear, and Axel, which is the guy with the hammer. He might be an old guy. I'm assuming an old guy because in the trailer he was like a hero and legends that looking for one last adventure or something like that. So Axel, if you're like a young guy that just happens to look old because of your white hair, I'm sorry, but overall, I think it looks good in terms of the amount of possibilities in terms of building and this unique plays between different runs that you have in the game. It really will just come down to how impactful the different upgrades are, how unique the upgrades are, how can I say, how well balanced the game is. You know, there's tank support and tactician, but some of the builds or combat sections are just not really built around like, hey, we don't really need a tank because the game is just not balanced properly to where you need a tank to out heal it and just DPS. So I mean, it's a lot of ways to approach it, and just hope that they do it right in terms of just having, hey, there's a lot of options for players to choose from. Just give them a good reason to, well, choose it. But overall, I kind of like it. It's gameplay, like actual combat experience. It's a lot more fast paced, I would say, a lot more energetic. There was a character, the archer guy, was like doing dash attacks in the air and doing like crazy stuff like that, giant healing bubble, a giant defensive shield. So it's a lot more stylized, again, just like the art style, but the combat is more stylized. But overall, gameplay wise, combat wise, skill trees, upgrades, purchase, stuff like that, it's a thumbs up. But I go back and forth looking at the camera sometimes, so I think it looks good in that regards. Does this tie into the main game? It does. They said the story will be canon to the mainline experience. They also said that they will have a social location called the Hunter's Gathering, where you can prepare your hunter, or your hunter, meet with other players, customize your camp location, and just have a jolly good time dancing and playing music and all that fun stuff. So when it comes to the actual game modes, the first one that they showed off is going to be Machine Incursion, which is essentially, as I said, you think your Elden Ring Night Rain or Battle Royale experiences, more so this is just all PvE, is that you'll have a large map to choose to play on, and each part of the map is going to have its own set upgrades and enemies, etc. So you're planning and mapping out where you want to go, while there is a storm shrinking and forcing you to a set location that'll have a boss fight. So with Machine Incursion, you know, I'm assuming, or rather I'm expecting, it's going to be a variety. It's going to change every time in terms of what upgrade is where. So this upgrade that was in the north, now it spawns in the south. What I'm curious on is there will be like events in the actual activity. So whereas, hey, you know, we're currently battling out in the south part, we're collecting things, and the boss is like in the center or further up north. But maybe, hey, to the east, there's a special event going on where we could fight a mini boss or something like that. Or hey, there's a unique event that might have a higher chance or guaranteed drop of a legendary gear. However, the system is going to be with this one, whether it's going to be rarity based or something like that, but essentially incentivize you to say, hey, we're planning to go to the south side because all the upgrades are there, but hey, now there's something cool that spawns in randomly on the map, let's go there instead. So essentially just activities on the map while you're playing it. So it's a lot of ways on how this can go, but it's good. I like what they're presenting with this one. Next is Cauldron Descent, and they described it as a multi-stage dungeon. And if people are familiar with different roguelike experience where you can choose left or right, left path has this upgrade, right path has its upgrade. That's essentially what this is. You're taking, as they put it, to fight to the monsters themselves, to the robots themselves, and you're just battling down until you get to the final boss fight. Now the same thing here. Again, if there's a way to incentivize certain locations, maybe if you want to have a bigger risk, if you will, like, hey, if we go right, it's a really challenging boss. I think I draw more comparison to Slay the Spire if anyone's play, because that's really the roguelike that I got sucked into playing a lot at one point. But essentially, if you choose left or right and there's different upgrades that you risk on, hey, there'll be a safer travel to the boss if we go left, but hey, it'll be a riskier, but we'll have a better upgrade path, if you will, if we go right or whatever. So again, same thing, variety in terms of each run is going to be different, presumably, assuming it's going to be a roguelike experience. So of course, it's going to be a different run each time, but each run is going to be different, and you know, it just adds more variety to the game. You know, and there's going to be upgrades, perks, and stuff to that for your character. So there's still some permanent path of upgrading your character. So it's not like every run, if you fail, it's just like I didn't earn anything. So you know, it kind of gets discouraging if that were to happen. But yes, there would be a set upgrade as we discussed early on in the video. So that was pretty much mostly it of what we got in the video. What the gameplay is going to consist of: story, game modes, different maps, different hunters, and I kind of just want to jump right in so I can stop rambling on just like overall thoughts and just go from there. So yeah, I will try to get this more structured than my other parts of this video, but essentially the good. I like the gameplay that they showed off in terms of how it's going to be playing. I like the hunter system in terms of you have different set hunters to choose from that'll have their own weapons to choose from, but also you'll have classes and roles to pick. So even though you want to say I want to play as Rim, for example, but I want to be a healer instead of a damage, I want to do tank instead of support, etc., there's variety in that. I do like the idea of having they say a challenging experience. We'll have to see how challenging of a challenging experience, but I do like the idea of a challenging experience and really pushing people to say, hey, make sure you got your squad loadout built for the fights. Make sure you're collecting the best gear that you can on the map. And this comes down to, again, how challenging it's going to be. Am I expecting like Dark Souls level challenging? I haven't played Elden Ring, Night Ring, so I'm not sure how challenging Night Ring is with the squad, but something that just really say, hey, no, I need to make sure my perks are set up properly. I'm choosing the best builds for the fight that we're going to fight, or the boss that we're going to fight, and just add depth, but challenge and reason to really interact with the systems in place. And it's not more so of an afterthought because it's so easy. The base build of the character is going to be enough. It's so easy because the upgrades that you get on the map are pretty much going to fill in any gaps that you have, and that's pretty much it. Now, again, the issue I have again is the art direction. I'm not too much of a fan of art direction. Like, it's not terrible, but it's it is very vibrant. I don't know if it's like a really shiny, glossy look in some areas sometimes that this really throws me off a bit, but I'm willing to give it a try. That said, I'm not going to pretend I'm going to be a day one buyer. I'm not going to present that, if you will, because the only Horizon game I beat was Zero Dawn. I haven't played Forbidden West. I don't care for the VR experience. I don't care for the Lego. But as someone who does like multiplayer, as someone who does like Monster Hunter, you know, if it turns out to be good, if I can get a friend group together and really just see interest there, it is something that I would be interested in playing. But I'm not going to pretend I'm like, I'm going to be there day one, because I'm not. I'm just not. Now, one thing that I do want to talk about a bit, because it's one of those days where it's just like, wow, this is really an issue. I wouldn't have known if it didn't show up in my Twitter timeline. But aside from the art style, which again I have issue with, apparently people have issue that one of the characters is a fat woman or large woman, however you want to phrase it properly, whatever the proper way is. I'll just say fat character. Okay, she's large. That's the issue apparently. And I don't know, like, I know in the gaming space, at least in the Twitter sphere, and depending on what part of the internet, YouTube culture you're in, or where you view and get your news at, there has been a push and pull of gamers where it's like, oh, this feels modern, woke, slop because the character is designed this way instead of thinking your traditional Instagram model design of characters. But when I've came across, again, a few tweets, very little, so I'm not gonna say that's the huge backlash of it when it comes to the character themselves. It's more so, from my understanding, just a departure from the realistic design to the more cartoonish Fortnite style design that people are upset about. But no, there's a group of people that's like, we're getting characters that we don't want designs for, or this is modern slop, because out of the six characters that they showed off, one character is fat and large, and that's the issue. And two, it's like they presented again, this is why I am kind of confused on how the roles is going to work, but they kind of presented her to be like the heavy tank, the large tank character, because she summoned a giant bubble shield, just smashed through a whole group of robots. I'm like, okay, so the large tank character is large. But no, apparently people were
this isn't what we want in our games and this is modern slop. And I'm just like, since when has that become an issue to have a variety of character designs, whether it's TV, cartoons, anime, video games? Part of designing a roster of characters is different shapes and sizes. Yes, I've said this before. I like my Bayonettas. I like my E's from Stellar Blade. I play DK, whose whole game is hot characters. But I'm just like, I don't understand the pushback of just like different character designs who aren't the traditional norm when it comes to attractive. I guess I know attractiveness is subjective, whatever, but like, again, it's not your slim Instagram model character figure or something like that, to where people are like assuming that the developers are like pushing an agenda or something. Like, I can understand if they get on a soapbox and start preaching themselves, but it's just like, bro, it's just a unique, it's just a different character design. Again, look at Overwatch, how you have larger characters, smaller characters. Look at Street Fighters, same thing, larger characters, smaller characters, just varying shapes and sizes. And I'm just like, since when has this become such an issue? And I know not to just get into the whole rant there, because again, this is such a small thing, but it's just one of those things like, I can't believe this is actually an issue. I know there was a pushback of people being too upset with like sexy characters, but now we've swung so heavily in the other direction that we start, I won't say we, but people are complaining and having fake outrage or manufacturer outrage over this character is fat, this character is large, this character doesn't align with the traditional appealing sexy character. It's a problem now. They're pushing agenda. This is modern slop. And I'm just like, where's that meme where people are just looking for things to be upset and offended by? So I just had to toss this at the end because, again, this is one of those things where I was just like, this is actually an issue with people. Apparently so. Apparently so. I know outrage clicks and stuff like that. And overall, the game looks, it's different. It's a different experience. Art style wise, again, it's a hit or miss for myself. Gameplay and what they presented, the premise of it, it sounds interesting. What really will depend on, especially if this is going to be a live service game, is if the game will have legs. How much depth is there at the initial start, what their roadmap is in terms of content delivery, and just how much of variety there is to going through and playing each time. And that's the main thing I'm looking forward to when it comes to it. If the next character, yes, there's a fat character, I don't care. Or, you know, like literally, again, the rest of the cast are like slimmer characters and you have one large character. It's the end of the world for some people now. I don't know. But this section, like I said, I tend to rant when it comes to it because it like boggles the mind that this is an issue for people. But modern day internet outrage culture or clickbait, and I don't know what I'm trying to say. Overall, I'm curious to learn more for it. Again, I'm not going to pretend this is going to be a day one buy because I need more details for it. But this approach is different, and I'm fine with that. They said they're not stopping their single player experiences. And as long as it doesn't hinder that, like, hey, as you know, this is a new game. So I hope it's good. With a lot of games, I just hope it's a good experience. And that's pretty much it. So yeah, comment down below what your thoughts are on Horizon Hunter Gathering, whether you're interested, what are your likes, what are your dislikes, and just let me know what you think of the video as usual. And I'm gonna stop rambling here. Deuces.